Hi guys, Steven Sun Homes by Sun with Remax. What a couple of weeks it's been. A lot of news came out last week and also today. I'm recording this on April 13th. It's been a busy week, so today I find a little bit of time recording this. And well, what do we know? A lot of news affecting the market. Let me just share my screen so we can all take a look at what I'm talking about. Let's start with last week. We were introduced to the Canadian government, the Liberal Party's platform for housing. So it's been a hot topic for a lot of politicians, political parties to try to address the ever increasing home prices that we were seeing. And so the Liberal government came out with a bunch of potential rules and policies that they're looking to implement. So I'll just highlight some of them. They're looking to ban blind bidding. They're looking to enforce the legal right for a home inspection because a lot of properties are bought right now without home inspection due to the fact that they're going to multiple offers. They want to give total transparency for the history of a recent housing prices on title search, which means making your property, how much you bought the property for, and all that information all public so that people can find out which the houses on the street, how much they were sold for without paying for the land registry record. So they want to make it public information. They want to require real estate agent to disclose that they're representing both sides. Right now, there is already rules in place that we have to disclose that. So it is part of our paperwork to disclose if we're representing both buyer and sellers. They want to publicly accessible beneficial owner registry. So, which means if a property is held under a corporation, they will have to display who the actual owner of the corporation is so that you can no longer hide behind a number company. It will be all public accessible information. They're going to deal with mortgage defaults and also the Mortgage Lender Act. They're also going to ban foreign ownership. So for a couple of years, if you're not related to Canada, you're not a PR, you don't have a citizenship, you are not going to be able to buy a property in Canada. And they're going to look into REIT, make sure that they're not buying up a lot of properties and renting them out for profit. So a whole bunch of initiative, a whole bunch of policy were announced that are coming down the pipeline, and that already caused a little bit of pause in the market. We are seeing a lot of listings that go to offer day, and there's not enough offer, or the numbers don't match what the expectation of the sellers want, and so the property gets relisted. Now, that was last Wednesday, and today, the Bank of Canada announced doubling of the overnight interest rate. So it went from 0.5, it's going to go up to 1%, doubling. Now, this has been the most aggressive since May of 2000. Hasn't been increased that much before. It is definitely going to put a chill on the market for the time being. Whether now, having said that, a lot of current buyers have already pre-approved, so they're okay. They're not subject to the rate increase. So in the next couple of weeks, we're going to still see pretty good activity for the people who are in the market who needs to buy. They're still going to buy if they got pre-approval. But for whoever that hasn't been pre-approved yet, they're going to have a little bit more of a hard time getting the amount that they want. The buying power with this increase, we're estimating that if somebody was in market for 1.6 million, now they will be $100,000 less. So let's take a quick look at the current 5-year fixed rate. So for most of the big banks, you can see the current 5-year fixed rate is around 4%. You maybe will get a little bit of discount, but if your interest rate is up for renewal, then it may be good idea to lock down your 5-year fixed rate, because the Bank of Canada is saying that in June they may have another rate increase. So rate increase is coming, and this is to combat the inflation as per the Bank of Canada. Do we see a long-term slowdown of the real estate market? I don't think so. I think a lot of buyers have already anticipated what's coming down, and sellers also are adjusting their expectations. Given time though, with a lot of new immigrant coming into Canada, we still have a shortage of properties. And so eventually people will just get used to the cost of buying a home. But if they have to move, if they must, say they're going through a divorce or someone is getting married, they have to buy. And so they're going to bite the bullet, find money somewhere, and still trying to get into the property market. Overall, we don't have enough properties to sustain a long-term slowdown. There are a lot of immigration that's happening in the next couple of years. A lot of people are coming into Canada. So we don't see this going to be affected for the long run. But for the short term, maybe for the next couple of months, it is going to be a quieter spring. Now let's get back into looking at the numbers for last week. So we're looking at numbers from April 2nd to April 8th. As I said last week, we are going to see more and more listing. And so we had, I would say, a record number of new listing came onto the market. Keep in mind, a lot of people bought, let's say in March and or late February, took some time to get their property on the market, and now they're all being listed. Or someone saw the market pretty good back in February, told their tenant, hey, I'm looking to sell, will you move out? And now some of the tenant will actually move out and let the landlord sell their property, but it takes time, it takes a couple of months. So now the tenants have moved out, and the landlord is caught sort of in a rock and a hard place, because with all these new policy, and now the tenant's gone, but they still have to put the house up for sale. So we're looking at this gap here. It's getting a little bit bigger. The number of transaction was 1,200, a little bit less than the week before, which is understandable. April 2nd was the weekend, and then the news came out, I think, on the 7th, on the 6th or 7th. And so I think if next week, when we're looking at numbers for this week, it's going to drop a lot more, the number of transactions. Average price though has been pretty steady. Average price is still at 1.5 million, 1.56. This is, again, this is GTA only. So Greater Toronto Area, Durham, Halton, Peel, York, and Toronto. All right, doesn't include area further west and areas further east or north. And so if we look at the condo side, again, very similar pattern. The condo side is the yellow highlight side. We have about 1,013 listings. Very, very high number of listings since I started tracking this at the beginning of the year. And number of transactions only at 443. Well, let's go back to the freehold side, sorry. This number, the number of listings selling over asking, has dropped. We peaked at 87%. So that was back in beginning of February. Now we're at 72%. So it's getting less and less. On the condo side, it's still hovering around 60, 68, 70%. It is down from the high of 80%. All right, so that was the high. Now we're 70%, 68%. So in terms of pricing, it's a slow decrease. So we were at 839 the week before, and now we're at 832. Slight decrease, but not too bad. So this is the state of the market for the past week. We are seeing a kind of slowdown this week. For sure, the number will not be as good. We're also seeing a lot of listings getting pulled. Now, lastly, I wanted to talk to you about some other stats. Today, I didn't prepare any tips or tricks because it's been a really busy week, but I wanted to show you this stat. Now, Brokerbay, this is the software that was integrated into the MLS system about a year and a half ago for real estate agents to book showings. Before this platform, we used to have to call into the listing brokerage office and book appointments through the phone. But since the implementation of this, all we have to do is go in and click a button and we can book showings, we can see the whole schedule and all that. The good thing about this platform is because we are now using it to book showings, it also tracks the number of showings that are booked throughout the whole Toronto real estate board market. So most of the companies are on this platform. There are a few that use showing time, but majority, I would say 70% or 75% are using Brokerbay, which is our appointment booking system that works for across different companies. So what Brokerbay provides is some statistics that we can look at. And so I pull up the showings. We're in the showings tab. And if we look at the number of showings booked through the system, in March, it was pretty consistent. It was around, I would say 6,000, sometimes go up to 8,000, sometimes come down to 4,000. But since the announcement of the liberal policies, we see we see a sharp drop in the number of appointments booked. So this is also a indicator for how this week is going to do. The less appointment that are booked the days before, the less deals are going to happen days after, right? Because agents not showing houses, properties, or there's very few showings for a lot of the properties. Number of transactions is going to come down, and price should follow. This platform also tracks when there is an offer registered on a property. It also does the tracking. So if we look at number of offers and we look at the last 30 days, we can see that there has been a significant drop. Today's only 4. Yesterday 130, but the high was 700. So you could get as high as 700 offers going through the system, being registered. And today it's only 4, no 130. And a couple of days ago, only 58. So you can see 1/10, which means if a property was getting 10, 15 offers before, now they're getting maybe 3 or 4. Or even less. All right. So this is a good indication of what's coming down, what's going to happen in the next week or so. For sure, activities will slow down. Prices may come down, but we're also seeing a lot of sellers pulling their property off the market. So it doesn't mean price is actually going to come down at the same rate a lot as with the showing. If people don't really have to sell, they may not choose to sell now. They may choose to sit on the property for a little longer, wait till this all the news and all the gets digested before they put it back on the market. So this is the recap for the Toronto real estate market for last week, and a little bit of foreshadowing for what's happening this week. Hope that was helpful as best I can. I'm still working on an offer right now as I'm recording this. So this is the best I can do to give you some analysis. And I will be back next week to take a look at what's happening in the real estate market this week. Appreciate all the support I've received, all the positive comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you.